Hi, I'm Dr. Jody Peacock, one of the co-founders at Exceptional ND. And today it brings me great pleasure to bring on Dr. Jessica Liu. We graduated together in 2006 from CCNM. She started at Lakeside Natural Health the year after and has been an amazing clinic director for the last, I guess, 12, 13 years that you've been running it on your own. Recently, once the pandemic started, Dr. Liu also joined up with Nora to create the Fertility Continuing Education Platform to really help further education for naturopaths, which obviously us at Exceptional ND are so excited about. So it brings me great pleasure to bring Jessica on board today, and let's hear all of her wisdom.
Such a warm welcome. Thank you so much, Jody.
So just to get you warmed up, we kind of just have been starting these with what got you into naturopathic medicine in the first place?
So funny. I think my mother really wanted me to go to med school, and I was sort of like vigilante. And my father, who was an engineer, became a Chinese medicine doctor when I was in my late teens. And so I started to grow up around it, right? Like if I had a headache, he would just stick needles in my head. There was no Tylenol allowed in the house, or make me drink his brew of twigs and leaves. And it was horrible. And like I couldn't flinch, right? Like if I let one drop fall on the table, or if I didn't take it down in one shot, there would be major consequences, right? So I kind of grew up around that. And so when it came time to sort of figuring out what was in my heart and what was my true calling, it was just like, yep, that's a fit for me. This is what I need to do. It's in my soul, it's in my DNA. And I'm so glad I made that decision. Yeah.
And now that you've kind of been in practice for, we're 17 years in at this point.
Yes, I know.
What at this point kind of gets you still excited to be a naturopathic doctor, to be in practice?
I have to say, and I really applaud NDs who are doing other incredible things in the industry with government policy, high level. For me, I think I'm always going to love being a clinician. It's when I am one-on-one with my patient, that is when crazy magic happens. And I do a lot of hands-on work with my patients, bioenergetic work. And so all of that mind-body stuff really comes into fruition when they're right in front of me on the table. So I'm never going to give that up as long as can still put two words together. I'm still going to want to be a clinician, because you learn so much from your clients. I'm still learning every day. And so that's what lifts up my soul. When you start a day and you're like, oh gosh, it's going to be a long day, but then you end off on such a high because you had such profound things come about with your clients. Or, in my work in fertility, no matter how good the labs look, your patients don't care until they get pregnant. So when you have a moment like that with somebody, I've just had a patient who has had 5 failed IVFs, and we've been working together for almost a year. She had an ectopic. She needed to take some time, and she just conceived with her own egg. And it's been just like so gratifying to have things like this come about with our support. So it's like, I've been able to witness the magic that happens with naturopathic medicine. And so if I can impart anything to the new grads that are coming in, it's like, our medicine works, believe in it, and we have such an ability to integrate well with conventional medicine in that space, and fill in the gaps. And I think now's the time for sure.
Well, and I mean, I love that. That's exactly what you're saying, because that's why we started Exceptional ND, right? We're like, our medicine is the most powerful medicine. Like, naturopathic medicine is amazing, right? And like when you get people that come in the door that, yeah, they've seen other reproductive specialists, they've, or, whatever they're coming in, they've seen GI specialists, or they've seen whoever, and they're like, oh, nobody's figured it out. And then we figure it out and we help, right? Like it's so powerful. And I want, like, especially the newer grads to know that, right? To know we don't have to follow the model that a family doctor does. We don't have to worry about coding everything. Like, you can listen to your gut, right? A lot of our medicine is like, almost intuitive, right? And like listening, feeling, seeing your patients, like.
And it's not even about having all the answers. It's just our ability to take the time and like you said, deeply listen and hold space for them to be in their authentic being and showing up, and letting them know that they're not crazy, that we see and understand what they're going through. I had a patient who, and she's been with me for a little bit, and she said, I don't have anybody else in my life that understands me the way you do and can give me that compassion the way you do. And that energy is healing. That is medicine. So I don't want NDs out there to think that, I think we're becoming so much better in the sense of having so much evidence to support what we do, just on such a high level, really understanding physiology and functional medicine so well. And so I see that from where we graduated to where NDs are coming out now. Oh my God, so crazy. However, I just don't want them to forget that there is healing energy in just being with your client in the way that only we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And so any words of advice, like you started kind of as an associate at your clinic, then became a partner, then eventually took over the clinic,
Yeah.
From that kind of business standpoint for somebody that's maybe, in their first few years, any kind of tips, words of encouragement, things that you wish you did differently?
I always used to joke that, year three is when I said, okay, I don't have to have Starbucks barista as my backup plan because they have benefits. Right. And so you need to give yourself some time to feel confident as a clinician. And I was still preceptoring in my first 2 years of practice, because you just want to learn, and your learning just begins when you graduate. Right. And we're 17 years out. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out as I go. And you just get more confident in the way you can deliver care, because everybody has their own little magic, right? I think about people like Jordan Robertson and the Doherty doctors who are so incredible at what they do. And I think about, what is my own magic? Well, I've done a lot of reading about fertility, and I tend to get the more complicated cases now, but that's not what drives me. What drives me is helping patients tune into themselves in the way that they start to make that little shift, and they start to believe in themselves more, and they start to feel like they deserve to feel well. And that for me is like, yes, I've done it. I landed where I wanted to land with this patient. That's what drives me still. And so I guess what was the question? Associate. So I think you have to try your different flavors, or it's going to be some NDs who just want to get out there and start practicing on their own and start up their own. And I applaud you for that. I think it's also a good idea to test out different clinics and see where you want to be, if you want to be more of an integrative space, or whether you want to be, just a private practice. I think there's all different ways that you can do it that gives you the ability to have that work-life balance. For me, the thing that I love the most about having a space like Lakeside, we have a tiny little boutique clinic. It's lovely. It's homey. People come in and put on slippers. And we have a small team of, I think, 9 practitioners now, but
small team of 9.
We used to be a team of like 16. And then of course, pandemic and things change, but it's a family, and I love collaborating. I love sharing ideas and supporting each other. And I love seeing practitioners grow in their own confidence. So we've had practitioners who've like I'm thinking about Dr. Jen Newell. She has Connected Health and Skin, and she's killing it. And we nurtured her as an extern, right? And so to see people like that go on and do amazing things, and we've been a part of that journey, I'm super proud of that. So, I think of Lakeside as a community hub. I don't see myself being able to do it any other way, because I'm stubborn and I don't like to follow rules. But to have that collaborative spirit, this year we were able to do our very first Lakeside team retreat. So we're doing it at a horse healing outdoor retreat space. And it's just I know it's going to be a day of play and fun and restoration. And I think about, I'm proud that I'm able to do that for my team, because when we're okay as practitioners, our patients are that much better, right?
Can you expand a little bit more on that thought when we're okay as practitioners?
Yeah. So, I've been to clinics where it's yucky. It's like they talk about numbers, like how many new patients did you see this month? And they rate their practice. And that is not the energy I wanna, and maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. But for us, it's like take your own medicine, act as if mom's watching. It's like we're here to learn. We're humble. We're here to do what's the best for our clients, even if it means we're not the right fit. And so when you act with integrity, you get that back in abundance. And so for me, is if we can create a space where practitioners feel supported, they don't feel stressed because reception isn't doing their job. Customer service is there. We treat our patients, I say we love them in and we love them out. So we treat them as if they're family. We're going to get those raving fans. So, and we know this, we know that there's a cost to acquiring a new client, and there's a risk to that too. Dr. Megan Walker says that we're trying to minimize our risk. And what is that? Because the client doesn't know us, they don't trust us. When we start to build that trust and rapport, that's the relationship that you want to nurture. So I have patients with me who I love because I've seen them through all their ups and downs, their heartaches, their joys, their triumphs. And they've been with me since the beginning. I have clients who've been with me for 17 years. And those are the relationships that I'm the most proud of because I have helped them weather their journey and we've built that trust, right? So I don't, I think Jane App said I had an active patient base of 300 patients last year. I'm very happy with that. We're fully booked. I have a wait list and that's nice, but it's the quality of the relationships. Am I doing my job? Am I leaving them better than when they came in? That's all I care about. And that's what we impart to the team. And so when you have that sense of sharing and nurturing and support, that's when your practitioners will be able to do their best for our community.
Absolutely. Well, and I love that you guys have such a focus on empowering your patients, supporting your patients, right? And I think not all clinics do that. So I think, anybody that's listening to this, the more you can kind of take that on and really want to show up for your patients, right? It's not about numbers. It's not about trying to pack as many people as possible into your day. It's how many families have you been able to support? How many, people are doing it differently now than they did last year because of, that little tidbit of information you gave them was able to change that whole trajectory, right? And I think you're similar to me in that, like, in that fertility space, I love it because it's like, if you can start that journey with that being right from the beginning, right? Like if mom and dad are bought in or, whatever the family dynamic is, but parents are bought into that from the beginning, that baby starts seeing you right away, right? And they grow up.
It's such a gratifying cycle to be a part of because really, and the story is why I didn't really want to be a fertility focused ND because I struggled with my own hormonal nightmare, right? I was, and I've told this story before, I was the 1%. I was called the 1%. Oh, weird. You're the 1% of patients who don't respond to tricycline low for acne. It gave me acne. I still have cystic scars from not responding well. And that was like everything. I was just that outlier. So I was like, oh, we don't know what to do with you. Let's try Accutane. Let's try this other hormonal birth control pill, which gave me post-pill amenorrhea and PCOS and on and on and on it went until my clinician fixed me at CCNM. Again, I keep forgetting where I'm going with these stories. So my point being is that, I think that's where I was going. I love babies. I discovered that I really love working with children. And my supervisor at CCNM said, you have a knack, like you should really work with kids. And I was like, yeah, I really like kids. And so that is also a piece of advice I would give to new NDs. It's like, if you have a passion, people will feel that. Even if you don't feel like you know enough yet, just go there, right? I knew for me, it was all about children and helping women go through with less suffering than the journey that I went through. And if I could help in some way. And I just started really pouring my heart into it. And that I can still say that with all honesty, that I could do fertility night and day in my sleep all day long, and I'll never get sick of it. And so that's what keeps driving me 17 years later. And do that, because when you sort of put yourself out there in a niche, that's where you're going to do your best work. That's where you're going to help the most people.
And having a niche doesn't mean that you have to turn away other people, right?
No,
Like
no,
but yes, I mean, when you're excited and passionate about something, does that come through? Absolutely. Right? If
100%.
you're someone that doesn't, enjoy treating cancer, then refer those people, right? And this is where building your network of other practitioners is so amazing, right? Because you'll find in practice, like there are certain people, like when I first started, I remember I externed with Scott Clack, who, was exclusively seeing kids on the autistic spectrum. I was like, oh, I'm all in for this. I did 1 year and I was like, this is not for me. So I know amazing people that I can refer those, families to, because there are experts that do that, right? So, and part of it's trial and error, right? Like you go to different clinics, you try things out, and you're like, okay, yes, this was great, or this isn't a good fit. So I just think, yeah, like, listening to your gut when you're in those situations, is this a good fit for me? Is this clinic where I should be? Is pretty important. So
Yeah.
any final kind of parting words of wisdom? Oh, and we didn't really talk about your fertility continuing education. So let's talk
Sure.
about that before we close off.
I think too, like being in practice for 17 years, you sort of get the itch of what else can I do for the community? And I do really want to encourage more experienced NDs to take newer NDs under their wing. We are a teaching clinic. We host preceptors all the time. And it's important energy to invest in, because this is our future. We need to protect naturopathic medicine. It's strong now, but we can do more. And with better education, with, more confidence in our newer practitioners, although I feel like they're really confident already, which is amazing. The education is so great. But, being able to teach, and that clinical experience is gold, right? So Nora Pope, who's retired her practice since 2019, like this woman is insane. She's so brilliant in the fertility space. It just kind of happened organically, where I was like, I loved your cycle charting course. When are you going to do another one? And she's like, do you want to help out? And I said, sure, I'll post about you on Instagram. Meanwhile, she was thinking bigger things. And so lo and behold, we ended up creating this deep dive category A, very robust course that we've now taught almost 500 docs all across the world. And we're going to do more. And the community that we've built, I mean, I am just so proud of our people. We are the best high level quality, amazing human beings on the planet. We have so much to give. So you think like we can impact 200 patients, or we can impact 200 doctors, and then they can impact hundreds of patients, right? So that was the drive there. And so I'm really proud of the platform that we've built, and we're just going to try to keep adding more high level content as we go.
That's amazing. Any kind of final parting words of wisdom you'd like to share with people that are watching, listening?
I don't know, just stay hungry, stay curious, stay humble. It's okay to refer. It's okay to have, like, build your reciprocal network. I think the relationships are really important. And then build a support system, because what we do is sometimes heavy. And so to have somebody to vent with, have somebody to have fun with, have your core naturopathic sisterhood, as I call it, to because like we get it, right? So sometimes it's like, I'm talking to my husband and I had a really tough day. They don't really understand what we hold as energy for our clients, right? So yeah, make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because we need you, and we need NDs to be healthy in order to help the world.
Awesome. And if there are docs that want a preceptor with you, what's the best way for them to kind of reach out to you?
Yeah, they can DM us on Instagram. What are we? Lakeside Natural Health, or they can just email the clinic, lakesidehealthcenter.com, we do vet our preceptors, so we want to make sure that they're going to get the most out of it and we're going to be the best fit to teach them. So yeah, but absolutely happy to have more come on
That's
board.
amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, and you are doing incredible work. I just have to tell the world that Jody has always been Jody. Like, she's been brilliant from day one, people. Okay. And we are so very blessed to have you as part of our profession. You are absolutely incredible and an inspiration. And I'm very, very honored and grateful to have you in my life. So.
Oh, you make me cry.
You make me cry.
Turn the recording there before I do. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm so excited to have you part of this platform and have your expertise going forward. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.